thing that we know about you. You love to get up and dance.
How about you break out those moves?
For your two biggest fans.
Jackpot!
So many of you know that while at times I disagree with certain individual opinions of certain individual people at the Daily Wire, I still believe they are a strong force for good in the market. They do what many do not, including myself. I criticize a lot of modern content and this crazy like grooming cartoons and all this kind of stuff. But they not only do that, but now they've committed a significant amount of money to actually create alternatives that parents can feel safe showing their kids. And I greatly applaud them for that. And apparently the New York Times had a real big problem with their cartoons, and it triggered them. And of course, that backfired into massive free press for the Daily Wire. Social media erupts with praise for Chip Chilla after the New York Times attacks the show for depicting a weirdly present father who teaches lessons about apparently dead white folks. What? We're going to get into that story after a super quick word from this video sponsor. The morning bowl of cereal has always been a part of my life, but as I've gotten older, I've looked for a smarter decision for my breakfast cereal, and that's why I've gotten Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon is a wholesome, high-protein, simple, high-quality with no artificial ingredients cereal. It has 0 sugar in it, just 4 net carbs per serving and 13 grams of protein. It's great for a low-carb lifestyle and those who are carb-conscious. Magic Spoon will have that great taste you love with more protein and less sugar. Magic Spoon has a ton of different flavors available. It's high-protein, keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, wheat-free, naturally flavored, and totally delicious. Click the link below to get some Magic Spoon cereal today. You can build your very own custom box with all the flavors you love using my code QUARTERING for $5 off. You can choose from best-selling cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, and maple waffle flavors, plus other awesome flavors, including honey nut, blueberry muffin, birthday cake, cinnamon roll, and chocolate chip cookie. You can also add their marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter cereal treats to your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed by a 100% happiness guarantee, so if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. So click the link below or scan the QR code on the screen and use code QUARTERING for $5 off, or go to magicspoon.com/quartering to save $5 on your order today. Also, my Canadian and British fans, Magic Spoon also ships to Canada and the UK. Give it a try, check it out. If you're like me, you'll love it too. Many people on social media reacted with praise for Ben Key's top show, Chip Chilla, Tuesday after the New York Times published a piece targeting the series for depicting a, quote, weirdly present father. You know, as I grew up, my dad was always around. I feel very happy for that. Yeah, he worked. My parents worked opposite shifts, so there was always somebody home with the kid. But my dad was there. He was around. He was involved. He took us places. He loved his kids, just like my mom does. And I feel like very blessed for that. But it isn't weird. It's not weird that the dad's around. That's how it's supposed to be. In the Times piece published on Monday, writer Amanda Hess criticized portrayals of the fathers in Chip Chilla and the popular Australian series Bluey as fantasy because they are active and engaged with their children. The New York Times writer also suggested that the dad in Chip Chilla is the worst offender of the two because he teaches his kids lessons about dead white folks. Remember, folks, Ben Key's Chip Chilla is extremely problematic TM because it teaches kids about white folks like you know many of the greatest heroes of all time. Daily Wire editor emeritus Ben Shapiro noted. Also, it's extremely patriarchal TM for dad to be involved in educating the kids, per New York Times' latest critique of Chip Chilla. Better to trans them, obviously. So, I mean, yeah, it would appear so. Now, what I think is weird, there's some more quote, I hate Chip Chilla Because my dad isn't a lazy idiot and the mom does housework. Also, I hate my kids, the New York Times Daily Wire host Michael Knowles wrote. Love it. The New York Times has become so morally deformed, it's almost cruel to laugh at them, but I'll try my best. Andrew Clavin wrote. Popular X account Ed Wokeness also chimed in. The New York Times is mad at Benke's Chip Chilla because the dad homeschools and teaches his kid about white people. By the way, those dead folks are George Washington, Neil Armstrong, and Ben Franklin. They are also fuming that the show has a father figure play the central role. Here's the thing. My dad was around for me. Like, I'm not saying that, like, the idea that that's not normal, I would say that almost all of the friends I grew up with, their families were intact. Their dads were around. Every single Little League, all the moms and dads were there. Little League in the summer or football in the fall, the dads were all there. I know that that's not the way it is for everybody. I get that. And I know that divorce happens, and it's certainly not the kid's fault when it does. And, I guess nowadays it's a lot more common to see, single parents, and that happens. But that's just not the reality. The reality is that is the normal, and that is what people should strive for. And my dad was involved in, all aspects of mine and my sister's lives when we were growing up. I mean, so was my mom. But, I mean, they're not saying the mom being around is weird. They're saying that the dad being there. It's like, what? With Chip Chilla, conservative parents can fulfill a fantasy of their own, combating the perceived indoctrination of public school by screening homeschool-themed content afterwards featuring lessons about white people and classic texts. I suspect the author... I wonder if the author is black. Obviously, it's not, it's a little different to... Nowadays, there are plenty of white people who would write like that, talk like that, you know what I mean? But I don't really understand. Let's go to the actual article because I think it's pretty curious. It's pretty curious. Okay, so I'm going to move this over here. I have to use a different browser because apparently Brave no longer works with Archive. Now, the author is a white person, a white woman. Shocking. The bizarre, the fantasy of fun TV dad. Like, this person obviously has, like... I mean, I'm sorry you had a bad dad or daddy wasn't there for you. But my dad was fun. He would take us swimming. He went on he took us to Great America on Father's Day every summer. He would I'm going to start crying now. But my dad was fun. Yeah, he was also a disciplinarian at times. But he would play baseball with me. He would play Nintendo with me. He'd play RBI baseball with me. He would, he'd make me, do chores around the house and stuff like that. But like... he was fun. He would wrestle around with us kids. He'd take us in the swimming pool, all that kind of stuff. Like, and by the way, stepdads can be fun too. It's not a fantasy. This is really sad. This Amanda Hess individual, what a terrible existence. Like, just a terrible life. That you see a family unit where the dad is responsible and taking care of the kids as a fantasy. Maybe this kid grew up with a bad dad. I don't know. Chip Chilla, the Benke Show, copies the Bluey color scheme, animation style, and premise. Animal siblings with weirdly present parents, with a few key differences. On the show, it's about chinchillas, not dogs. 2, the show is lazy and pedantic. You're a grown woman. It's a children's cartoon. It's not for you. It feels like Wikipedia should get co-writing credit. 3, the chinchilla children are homeschooled, and the father Chum Chum is their instructor. He crafts zany play-based history lessons using silly voices and creative household items. So that sounds awesome. You know, like, I don't get it. It sounds like he's an awesome dad. And they're saying, like, he is highly involved father and unrelenting jokester who rarely seems to have to work. Basically the same guy. So maybe he's a stay-at-home dad. That happens. Or maybe, like when I grew up, my dad worked full-time, but he was still there during the day with us kids. He went to work at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the afternoon because he worked second shift. But he was with us all day. He very easily could have been homeschooling us while also working, while also being zany, while also poking holes in our sandwiches with his thumb when he made us lunch. He could have done all those things. The idea here that the writer is presenting the idea that cartoons must have crappy dads. Just look at how cartoons treat somebody like Homer Simpson. In the earlier seasons, while Homer is, kind of a doofus presented that way, he actually goes above and beyond to help his kids out. He works 2 jobs so Bart can keep an elephant as a pet. He does the same so Lisa can have a horse. He does everything he can so that Lisa can get her saxophone. He stumps for dental care or whatever for when Lisa needs braces. Dental plan. Lisa needs braces. Dental plan. Anyway, there's lots of things. He helps out Bart when Bart needs help. He does a lot of things to be a good dad. Nowadays, most cartoons, they're like Peter Griffin. Bad dads. And I don't know why that is. I think that if you think that it's weird that a dad is present in their children's life, that says a lot more about you than it does about dads. Conservative parents can fulfill a fantasy of their own, combating the perceived indoctrinations of public schools. Well, they do, by screening homeschool-themed content afterwards. So what's wrong with that? It sounds like this woman is just mad that she's going to lose a few potential kids from the indoctrination machine. More dads need to be like Stan Smith. The funny thing is, Stan Smith caring about his kids is actually like the joke of the show, him being an overprotective father. But he also protects his kids when he needs to. This feels like a throwback to the lazy sitcom dad glued to the living room couch watching television, though on social media he inspires an intensified level of resentment. Dads who don't pull their weight are shamed for it now, but dads who contribute still get praised. This woman just hates dads. I'm sorry your dad didn't love you. That's not okay. He should have been a better dad to you. But the fact that you wrote for the New York Times and you wrote this entire think piece about a child's cartoon daring to have a good dad in it, that says way more about this broad. I bet you she's probably, I'm not going to go down that road. I'm not going to make a spicy joke about her because she's already clearly emotionally damaged. Good on Daily Wire. I'm glad somebody out there is helping create, and more people are doing it too. But I would say the world needs a lot more Al Bundys and Stan Smiths than, whatever weird fantasy this weirdo has about bad dads being in cartoons.